Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Team Eagles call. My name is Brianna Crinwelge. I am in Waco, Texas. I am a senior sales coordinator with the Juice Plus Company, and I've been around the Juice Plus Company since I was about 3 years old. So definitely grown up, been a Juice Plus kid, and now involved heavily with the company. But tonight, I have the pleasure of introducing Miss Christen Hillmer to our Team Eagles family. And we're going to get to hear a little bit about her story and what she's done with the Juice Plus community, as well as what the product has done for her. And I'm even going to pick her brain with a few questions. And I got some special requests for questions also. So, Christen, I hope you're ready.
I'm
But
ready.
a little background on Christen. I know that she is a brand new national marketing director. Just did her speech at the Glass conference. If you didn't hear it, she was amazing. I know Mick had shared that recording. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it. Her background is in sports medicine, and she does have a bachelor's in kinesiology. She does live in Aspen, Colorado, and is an avid outdoor enthusiast, which I know is probably easy in Colorado because there's so much beautiful to do up there. But hobbies definitely include the backyard mountain playground. She does skiing, mountain bike, running, climbing, everything. And recently married or soon to be?
Less than 40 days.
Oh,
Soon
okay.
to be.
Any day now. Then, yeah. So I'm going to open it up and have her share her experiences with the product and the business and what Juice Plus has done for her.
Thanks so much, Brianna. And yes, I'm excited to be here tonight. Thank you both, Mick and Jenny, for the invite to share my story. And we're going to rewind because it was I've been using Juice Plus for now 3.5 years. Someone introduced it to me, and I did need some time just to look at the research. And actually, I was pulled into a 3-way phone call that it was able to understand the research behind it and how the sustainability behind it. And that was really important to me. And really, I don't think I mentioned this in the bio or that I passed off, but I was working in a sports medicine clinic in Aspen at the time. And I had just opened up my own practice as a massage therapist integrated with PT chiropractic work. I was really excited about it, to be my own boss, to call the shots, to be able to work when I wanted to work. And had this beautiful picture inside my head. And in all reality, my body was hurting massively from all the deep tissue work. And so once I got on that 3-way phone call and I saw the research on inflammation, that was huge for me to say, you know what, I should test this out to see what happens for myself. And over the course then it was Transform 30, which is now the Shred 10. So it's the only thing I ever knew. I'm actually downline of Dr. Mitra Ray. So it's what we've done. So I started doing that, and I was blown away for someone who thought that they were super healthy. And, I was skiing 5-6 days a week. I was climbing, I was mountain biking, I was really active, and I thought I was eating really clean, but this just took everything to a whole new level. I was someone who, first things I started noticing, what it seems really minor, but it was my nails growing like weeds. My skin was glowing. People were like, "What are you doing?" And it didn't even register at the time. But I noticed my energy levels picking up. My immunity I still can count on single fingers how many times I've been sick in 3 years, and any sickness has been incredibly minor. But it was my muscle recovery from just seeing how quickly my body bounced back after big days on the hill and that sort of thing. And I was also somebody who had dealt with some different anxiety and depression and some different eating disorders when I was younger. So I had some self-worth issues with my image. I was always an athlete, but I didn't think I was as fit as I should be for all the work I put into that. And when using Juice Plus and the program, like inside of Transform 30, I was amazed to see how that just shed off of me without effort. And I had been putting in a lot of effort before. So the icing on the cake really for me was when I was able to stay away from those anti-anxiety and depression medications. I would get in really dark places, days it would be hard to get out of bed, and just do my to-do list seemed like a massive hurdle. And to be able to look back and, that's the importance of when we're taking care of our customers, taking care of ourselves, it's that compound effect, doing it every single day to see how that plays out over the course of time. It's amazing to see how much my health has evolved. And really those first 5-6 months was a total transformation, the transformation 30, right? And it just turned into transformation 365. And in that time period, I actually had my dad get on Juice Plus. He was able to get off blood pressure medication. And that's really when the light bulb went off. I thought, I'm doing a disservice by not at least sharing this with people. I'm in the healthcare profession. And so I went to my first conference exactly 3 years ago, but I still had I couldn't find the traction, or I didn't have the right mindset around it, really is what it was. My self-worth wasn't high enough. I just thought, I'm all alone. And so now I'm outside of Aspen. At the time I was there, I was like, everyone's down in Denver. I'm all alone and I don't know what to do. And so I was just giving myself all these different excuses of why I couldn't grow a business. And in all reality, I was just putting my priorities in other places. So it really was that second conference that I got really clear around, this is simple. I was able to meet Jake Kelly at about that time and meet somebody who was very similar in spirit and age and the way that she was dreaming and wanting to travel, because that was one of the biggest things for me. I opened up this successful practice. I was getting paid an incredible hourly wage. But it was hourly, right? I was trading my dollars for hours. And when I wasn't working, I wasn't getting paid. And because I am an outdoor enthusiast junkie, taking trips, doing evening things, going away for holidays became really stressful. I actually hadn't been home for Christmas for 7 years until this past year, because I was constantly working these seasonal jobs and trying to, I was juggling my schedule to work with my clients when they needed me. So, like I said, it was 2.5 years ago when I went to that second conference, and I was like, this is simple. It is the DMO that we talk about all the time, right? The 2x2x2, reaching out to 2 new people, touching base with 2 customers, touching base with 2 of our team members, and then setting up events, checking our boxer. And so when I got into, so I really say, not that, but in all reality, it was January of 2016. My business story really started. And in a 6-month time period, our team was able to help enough people get these fruits and vegetables into their bodies that I was able to hire another therapist to take care of my clients, while Nick and I, my now fiance, and I went on a 2-month road trip. We literally drove East Coast to West Coast. We drove up into Canada to go rock climbing, flew down to Mexico to go surfing, and I was able to work. I was like religious. I'm somebody that it's like, if you say you're going to do something, I'm going to do it. And so I was doing 2 to 5 reach outs every single day and following up. People say, where's the magic? Well, the DMO, that is the magic right there, and being consistent, just like those capsules. When we don't do that for a week or however long it is, like, it's still beneficial putting into our body, but that compound effect. And if we think about, to what am I trying to say? Pop a bag of popcorn, you put it in the microwave, you could leave it in there for 15 seconds, check it, nothing. 15 seconds, you could do that for eternity and it's never going to pop. But keeping that heat on for that 3 minutes and whatever seconds that it is, that is when that heat allows the transformation to start to happen. And so when I got back from that 2-month trip and doing those consistent reach outs every single day, I was kind of like, holy crap, this is real. My paycheck is growing. I got more serious. And then I decided, I knew in my mind, and this is something else that's, for me, it's really important. Like, actually, here, I'll see if I can hold this up. I'm super big on visualizations. So I've got my dream board that I look at every single day. I'm very, very clear. I have checks written to myself of what I'm going to be making. We've got someone unmuted there. It's like a Tara, perhaps. But in addition to that, like I have checks written out to myself of how much I want to make by the end of the year. And I don't just say that, I put the action behind it. Have you guys talked much about Teamzy on your team? Are you familiar with that at all? Okay. So Teamzy, spelled TEAMZY.com. You can do a 30-day trial. You don't have to put in your credit card. This is a new thing for me, but it makes that whole sheet of paper of a DMO even easier. So you put in all your Facebook contacts, it uploads it in like 15 minutes, and you've got this bank of people to be working from. And so I think about it as like my personal assistant of which customers am I touching base with, what team members am I touching base with, and you can change it if you need, but it makes sure that those things get done. So when that action is behind it, I'm very, very confident now, seeing my dream board and seeing those checks come into reality. Because there's so many times, like, anyone on here ever like question, what the heck am I doing? Like, how is this going to happen? How am I going to hit that next position? Well, so much of it's between our ears. It's the mindset of, I can. If they did, so can I. If they did, so can I. And proving that to yourself and putting that DMO into action. So to keep going forward with my story, it was 1 year ago. I told myself, and I'll just be really candid. I told myself when I made $3,000 that I was going to let go per month, that I was going to let go of the rest of my massage clients, and then be able to pursue Juice Plus full time. I was like, you know what? I know that the rest will come, but this is where my energy needs to go. And I've seen people like Mick and Jenny be able to build up these incredible lives, the Doug and Mitras of the world. So I knew that it was real, and I knew that I had a platform and a day-to-day activity to put that into place. So the next month we hit Qualified National Marketing Director. And then the next month, Nick and I headed to Europe for a month-long expedition trail running through the Dolomites. It was phenomenal. And that is when he proposed. And that is when I was like, well, here I was thinking I was going to do all this international prospecting, which I did do some, but I'm only getting proposed to once. So I decided I should really enjoy this time. And to be honest, I didn't work that much. And it's pretty cool when you're in another country not working and your paycheck gets direct deposited even bigger. So I was like, at this point, that when you can teach these people underneath of you to step up and rise up as leaders, on taking over team calls, like it seems like you already are doing, get them into those DMOs. And another thing that I will have to say is our team has really mastered three-way phone calls. So when people are brand new, we really make sure right away we get them on an orientation phone call. We map out, we map out when their Freedom Revolution call is going to be, put that on the calendar. And we make sure we hold their hand and we send out those first 5 to 10 invites with them. Because I think that's sometimes I know that is the hardest part, those first couple steps. So doing that with them, because how many people say, okay, now you're going to send out 2 invites for the rest of the week every day, and it never happens, right? They need that help getting that done. So we put some events on the calendar, help them invite. And then after those events, we pull them into 3-way phone calls just to do some connection calls, or we call them a health consult to explain what the Shred 10 is and that sort of thing, getting to know them and allowing them to get to know what we're doing. So anyways, I'd really set my team up for success. I want to emphasize that before I went abroad, and then to see how our paycheck is a direct reflection of the amount of people we're helping, right? So pretty neat to see, wow, I've really been able to empower some leaders to step up and take care of this, and to see that reflected in my bank account too. It's not all about the money, but when we can say it's a direct reflection of the amount of people we're helping, that sure feels great. So basically between last year and now, I was bound and determined to make NMD happen before our wedding in less than 40 days. I was I've never had health insurance. I've always paid for my own health insurance. My parents were entrepreneurs. So I'm really excited about the benefits there. And so again, I just had this very clear picture of what that would look like. And, before I go to bed, I'd write out the things that I'm grateful for. When I wake up, I do my affirmations. And that's a really huge part of making sure that my mindset is clear, whether that's prayer and devotion, meditation, like definitely making sure that we're taking care of ourselves physically. But it's really important to take care of this temple so that the love pouring out of us that people around us can feel that. So we, and I'll be candid about this, because we hit October and I was like, I have no idea how NMD is going to happen. I wanted it January 31st. That was the picture I had in my mind. And I had no idea how it was going to happen. And then just like everything works out as it's supposed to, some people popped up out of the woodworks who were ready to just go all out with this. So we, again, being on Dr. Mitra Ray's team, we always lead with the Shred 10. I don't know what that looks like within Team Eagle, but we're adamant about making sure that the micronutrients and macronutrients are paired, and we'd explain how that works. And so we were able to jump massively with club levels and with qualifications and with pay lines to make huge jumps with NMD to really be able to claim that January 31st, which happened to fall on a blue moon. Once in a blue moon, I think that's pretty cool. And then be able to cross the stage as a new national marketing director this last conference with my baby sister and my fiance Nick. So in brief, that's my story, and I would love to know what questions you've pulled together, Brianna, so I can really help the team here.
Well, actually, you made my life pretty easy because you answered most of them through your speech. So I hope everyone was paying attention. Because a bunch of people had asked, I like how you emphasized getting a buddy. Like when you said you met Jake, you really felt that connection there. That's important. A bunch of people had talked about what do you lead with? How do you start those conversations? And you said you did the Shred 10. So I might ask a little bit more, what kind of wording do you use? Like with a brand new, you've never talked to them. Do y'all recommend more of the relationship? How do you kind of start those conversations with brand new people?
And I want to touch on the buddy thing, because I kept hearing that over and over, and I kept thinking, it's like, I don't have a buddy. And it really wasn't until right before I hit Q, like Jake and I are very good friends, but being at different positions, we weren't buddies in the sense of like really pushing each other to hit these next marks. So I can't tell you enough how much, I love my upline and I love my downline, but sideline is massive. There's no way I'd be where I am today without my sideline buddies and AJ Majors, who we actually were back to back on stage. Interestingly enough, no coincidences, but we found each other at a boot camp and were really similar places in our business, had really similar visions of where we wanted to go. And I can't encourage you enough within the team is fantastic, but going to different boot camps and making sure you go outside of your circle and you meet people, because there's so much so much information and a wealth of knowledge to be shared. Different teams doing everything's the same, but it's all a little different. And sometimes you just have to find someone that speaks the language a little bit differently. So I really encourage you to be looking for that and then praying for that person or a group of people. And as far as words of how to, let me see if I can pull up on my screen really quickly some of the verbiage that we use around that, because so my sister, let's see, I think it is right here. Awesome. Actually just saw this earlier today. we've been doing something called a health consult or a project, and it's basically a fancy way to say a three-way phone call. So we have a lot of younger people on. I'm just turned 30 years old, and now I'm definitely super young, but I've got really young 20 somethings on the team. And so we were figuring out, how do we like make a three-way phone call sexy? So instead of saying that, hey, would you want to jump on a connection call or a three-way phone call, we started saying, at the beginning of the year, for example, we were saying Jeff Olson talks a lot about health food agency. So that's some of the language that we use with inside of our team. But let me just pull up one idea here. So this was I'm happy to send these to you, Mick, so you can post in the post in your team page. But hey girl, my health food agency sponsor is doing free consultations this month. I thought of you because I know how important health and fitness are to you. She has a free grocery guide, cookbook, smoothie recipes, and accountability groups. No idea if you'd be interested, but would you want to check it out to see if it's for you? So that's one. And then this is the same thing. It's just a little different verbiage, which I'm just going to find this. So, hey girl, I'm working on a project with my health food agency sponsor, and I need to set up 3 appointments with people who I respect and who own their health. That's why I thought of you. This might not be for you, but might be for someone you know. If you had some free time, would you be willing to help me out? It means so much. And if not, no worries. So I have never had higher success rates on getting people on three-way phone calls than with those 2 scripts right there. And then what we would do in that situation is we would get to know them. I would say, I thank them for their time and for joining us, on the project, or taking some time out to get to know them for a health consult. And I would just introduce myself very briefly, but it was mostly focused on them. I'd ask, what areas of your health are you really excited about? And what are 3 areas that you would like to see improvements in? So I would note those things, and then we would go through, I feel like I'm getting into a separate training right now, but I would go through, I'm going to pull it up. We'll just go with it here. Let's see if I can find this really quickly. I'd go through these 5 slides, and they're in the back of the healthylivingrevolution.com, but perfect. Okay. So I'm going to just pull this up here, PowerPoint, and we go through these 5 slides, and essentially, once these are pulled up, come on, PowerPoint. Think fast, fast, fast. Oh, come on. Come on. All right, here it is. Perfect. So what I would do after asking them, what really are you proud of, and what 3 areas do you want to improve upon? I would explain like the importance of fruits and vegetables. I'd get them to hold up their fist and say, do you eat, we're supposed to be getting these 7 to 13 servings of fruits and vegetables every single day. And I bet you did that yesterday, right? And everyone's laughing because no one, of course, did that. But I explain, like, things are being picked early. They don't have the nutrients in them. And then on top of that, up to 40% of the nutrient density can, my computer has all things popping up all over it. There we go. So that 40% of that nutrient content can diminish while sitting on the shelf. So I just paint the picture of how depleted we are of plant matter. And then I'd go through this slide and explain the toxic load of, like, we all have these toxins in our bodies, and our body is really smart, and it engulfs these toxins inside of fat cells. We can work out a ton, we can eat less, but really we become what we call skinny fat, and it's a lot easier to rebound, be more sick than we were, more tired. But when we use the program, the Shred 10, and I haven't said anything about Juice Plus yet, just because I want them to hear me, okay? I say it's the same person, same amount of toxins, but when we're putting these 45 plants in our body every single day, they act as scrubbing bubbles. They scrub out our toxic load. And then it's a lot, once the toxins are shed, the fat cells can be shed, it's a lot easier to maintain. And if you don't know, like, basically you just read what's up here, and it's a lot easier. Like, it's all right there for you. And then I would explain what the Shred 10 is. I'd have them share with me what would be easy for them and what would be challenging for them. And then I explained, because we don't get those, that, 9 to 13 servings the size of our fist, we have whole food concentrates that help us bridge that gap. And then I would explain how it's made. It's the whole thing. It's the seeds, it's the skin, it's the core. And it's, I would talk about the micronutrients and the macronutrients. And the last slide, which popped up earlier, I would ask them, I say, are you using any supplements or multivitamins right now? And if they are, I would, I just explain, like, it's synthetic, it's isolated, it's fragmented, it's man-made, versus an apple having 10,000 micronutrients inside of it. So really, we would do these in a 3-way phone call. And then at the end of it, I would ask what questions they have. And if they said, I'd answer their questions. And then if they didn't ask about price, I would make them ask about price. I would say, would you like to know how much this would cost you on a day-to-day basis? And because people need to know that, right? First, I would ask them, on a scale of 1 to 10, how interested are you? And if they answered 5 or less, that's when I'd ask more questions. And if they answered more than that, then I would segue into, would you want to know the price? And people say yes. So you can tell I do these frequently because I'm locked and loaded here. I would say, just real quick, because I want to respect your guys' time. So Brianna, you're going to the grocery store and you're going to buy 1 organic orange and 1 organic apple. What would that roughly cost you?
Probably $3 or $4 here.
Okay. Yep. And we need some veggies. And so a tub of greens would cost about how much?
Probably another 5 or 6.
Okay. So we just got 2 pieces of fruit and a tub of greens for over $6-7, right? Like, and can you believe it? For only $7.50 a day, we can do the 45 different plants with 2 shakes. And I had already explained at that point, like, our products come in a 4-month supply. We do one for breakfast, we do one for lunch. So that's how I would package it, so people were clear around that. And I would just say, how does that resonate with you? But we were able to close so many calls in those 3-way, or so many orders in those 3-way phone calls, because people got the education. People were educated on what the product was. So it was really easy for them to have a positive product experience and be educated and sharing it with other people. So we were able to have raving fans that were turning into then team members. And it became this beautiful way of, inside of our DMO, making sure that in our events were also these 3-way phone calls are events, right? So yeah. That was longer than I planned on talking, but I felt like that's been huge for us.
Yeah, no, that was perfect. I appreciate it. And a couple of people had asked me to ask, like, what you do for your DMO and what your biggest thing was. And you talked a lot about the personal development. You gave us exactly wording you can use. So you answered everything actually on my list. So that was perfect. So I do want to say a huge thank you from all of us on this call and everybody who's going to be listening to the recording, because I know I didn't get to take notes while I was doing this. So I'm going to watch back for the recording and definitely write down all the good tips you've given us. So thank you. A huge thank you from our Team Eagles to you for coming on tonight.
You are so welcome. And I'm more than happy to pass along those 5 slides too, if you'd like, Mick.
Thank you, Christen. Yes, please. And I've got one more question. So knowing you and knowing how determined you are to raise up leaders on your team, they don't have to depend on you to do that 3-way call presentation for everyone on your team, do they?
Absolutely. That was one of the most beautiful things, is we'd get people who were really nervous, but you help them with 3, 5 of these. And then once they were on 3 of them, I'd say, okay, now why don't you explain the toxicity slide next round? So I would prep them to be able to explain a portion of that. And it was amazing to see people come out of their shells and build confidence and be able to run the full thing and do their own for their new reps.
That's a beautiful thing right there. This is such a special opportunity. I'm not going to cut it off short now. Does anyone have a really good, tough, or easy question for Christen?
I do. Sandy. What you're calling a three-way call is a Zoom call, is that correct?
Yes. We did them on Zoom so we could have a visual.
Right.
Did you ever do them over the phone?
I tried not to because there is something about seeing someone smile, seeing someone's face that really helps.
Okay. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about all the noise, but I am muted. Everyone. Okay, anyone else?
Actually, I've got it may not be a quick question, so if it's not quick, don't worry about answering it. But how do you use social media to help with your business? Do you use it? Do you not? How do you use that?
I never talk about Juice Plus on social media. Never. I am a big fan of Instagram stories. That's been my new thing. And then definitely making some powerful posts. I went live on Facebook last week, which was really got a lot of people watching to go live in the evenings, but not about Juice Plus. I'm talking about my abundance project and my health, my health side hustle, that sort of thing. So really creating curiosity. Social media is massive, and I'm learning a lot from the younger people right now because Instagram is something I don't fully understand.
That's so encouraging to hear, Christen.
I'm getting better.
Someone else. I think Michelle wants to.
Yeah, I want to ask. Christen, what was your sweet spot? Like, at what point were you enough in to go all the way? Does that make sense?
So it was right. So when I said I met Jake Kelly in that 6-month window of like, I'm doing 10 reach outs every single day. And once I went on that 2-month road trip, because that allowed me to have enough of an income stream to hire someone else. When I went on that 2-month road trip and I tasted what this life could be on a very small scale, but huge at the same time, right? That was when I was like, this is it. Like, I'm doing this. And it just, when I got back from that trip, I just got more and more clear around how I wanted to scale that on a larger, or have scale that. You know what I'm trying to say.
This is a very rough, not even translation of a very famous saying by a very famous German philosopher, Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, who said roughly, when you commit to something worthwhile, providence moves. And that's the thing, Christen, I think that's the secret to your success. And that's the reason so few people succeed. You are willing to make a serious commitment, 10 reach outs a day. I mean, you're in the mold of Mitra Ray and Jeffrey Bertie right there. And that set you apart. So, girl, I've got to say, congratulations.
So much. And here's the thing is anyone can do it. It's just a matter of, are you going to put in the work and are you going to carve out the time? But I do know that it is worth it. Even those moments that it doesn't always feel like it, you've got to think the 5-year, the 10-year plan. Because I think in 28 years, if these two have been in this 28 years, man, I can't wait to see what life looks like in 28 years.
I'll tell you, life is great.
Okay, that was fantastic, Christen. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome.
Thank you for doing a wonderful job, as always. Love you, girl. And we will see you at the next 39 Club retreat, Christen.
Yes.
You'll be there. I know you will.
I will. I'm excited for it. And thanks again. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Say hi to Nick for us.
I will. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you,
See you next
Christen.
time.
You're welcome.